Hello everyone, welcome to Brice's Beats today. Today we'll be talking about White Lion, the glam metal band that took rock music by storm and what the underrated guitar player they had. They were formed in New York City in 1983. White Lion's biggest hits are Wait, Radar Love, Broken Heart, Tell Me, When the Children Cry, All You Need Is Rock and Roll, Little Fighter, Cry for Freedom, Lights and Thunder, Love Don't Come Easy. White Lion did have an underrated lead guitarist, Vito Barruto. He was so awesome. The vocals of the band, Mike Tramp, an amazing vocal range and great frontmanship as always. White Lion is one of my favorite glam metal bands of the 80s glam metal music movement. Also, White Lion to me is just a really fantastic band in many ways. They're phenomenal. They're so good, fantastic, top-notch musicianship. To me, they're not just have an underrated guitar player. They are just an underrated glam metal band of the 80s because, I think they were pretty big, but they were not as big as like Def Leppard, Poison, Rat, Dawkins, Guns N' Roses, and all those other big names. White Lion was pretty big, but I think they were kind of like an underrated glam metal band of the 80s because if you listen to Mike Tramp's vocals on all the songs, he has such a great vocal range and he's a very good singer in that band. And really, Vito Barruto, the original lead guitarist of White Lion, he's definitely an underrated glam metal guitar player. He is so good and so fantastic in many ways. You got to know White Lion, but you got to know the iconic guitar playing in every classic White Lion song. It's done by Vito Barruto. And how I learned about White Lion and Vito Barruto was from my next door neighbor over here, Kevin Baumgartner. He introduced me to White Lion and Vito Barruto, actually. And White Lion is fantastic in many ways. Great music production, great big 80s hard rock glam metal sound like all the other ones were, and just fantastic. I tell you this, the acoustic playing, kind of like the acoustic electric playing in When the Children Cry, which was a very big song for them, a really good song for them, a really good song for them. It was just fantastic in many ways, and really and truly, White Lion is just out there. They're just really good, and I like them a lot. I got their greatest hits not last Christmas as a Christmas present, but it might have been the Christmas before that, or the Christmas before that. I think it wasn't last Christmas, but the Christmas before that. White Lion is one of my favorite 80s metal, well, not really metal bands, but 80s hard rock glam metal bands. I didn't even know who they were until Kevin showed me one of their songs on his TV one night when I was over there one Saturday evening. I don't know who they were. And I love the song Wait, I never want to live without you. And that great guitar solo that great iconic electric guitar solo in the song Wait is such an iconic guitar solo. It's underrated too, in my opinion. And I think Vito Barruto was an underappreciated guitarist, in my opinion, because I think after White Lion, he kind of did his own solo music thing. I'm not sure what he did after White Lion, but he's a fantastic electric guitar player. To me, he is probably one of my favorites and probably one of the most underrated guitar players in 80s hard rock glam metal history, in my opinion. He is so good. And the thing about White Lion is they're just really good. And another thing about White Lion is that they have never been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at all, which I think like the next few years from now they need to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or some music Hall of Fame, in my opinion, because they deserve it and they're really underappreciated in the rock music scene and really underappreciated in the glam metal scene because they were so good, in my opinion. Very good musicianship and great music talent in every shape or form you could think of. They were great. And what else about White Lion? I don't think they do. I don't think they toured together. I think they kind of broke away, I don't think White Lion are a band anymore. I think they broke off and they did their own stuff. And I think the front man, Mike Tramp, I think he went to do his solo career like in the 1990s, which was, I don't think it was as successful as when he was in White Lion. I don't think his solo career was as big as when he was in White Lion, which White Lion was a big band. They were a pretty big band age, but I don't think they were really big, but they didn't get the bigger success kind of like the other ones did, like Rat, Dawkins, and the other ones. But besides that, White Lion is just a top-notch 80s hard rock glam metal band that people need to hear more about, discuss more about. And if after this Brice's Beats White Lion edition video, go look them up. Go look up their greatest hits and listen to every song on there. Every song they've done. Look up the greatest hits of White Lion that I got on CD. Look up that album on YouTube or Apple Music, wherever music platform you have. Listen to every song on their greatest hits album that I have on CD. Every song they do is fantastic and phenomenal and fantastic in many, many ways. They're so good. Look them up. And When Children Cry is one of my favorites, and I love Wait. There's another one on here called Broken Heart I like, and what's the other one that I was thinking of? Was a Little Fighter. Little Fighter is another good one, in my opinion. But just Vito Pareto, let's go back to talking just for a few minutes. That Vito Pareto is the heart, and so he was actually the there's an interesting fact I didn't know about White Lion, was Vito Pareto was the co-founder and actually songwriter for White Lion when they first got started, really, yeah. I think, he kind of broke away from songwriting, and I think the front man did some songwriting for White Lion too. But go check out White Lion. You won't be disappointed. Now, not a lot of people on this channel that subscribe to me or even watch me that grew up in the 80s, grew up listening to a lot of 80s music, you probably would know White Lion from the song Wait, Wait, and When the Children Cry, and Rate All Love, and all those other classics, and Broken Heart, which actually was their very first big song before the song Wait came along, and way before When the Children Cry, actually. But they're such a phenomenal piece of music history. I love them a lot. I had a good time in Smoky Mountains. I wanted to give a shout out to that on my Brice's Beats Music Info YouTube channel. I had a great time, big time Smoky Mountains. Thank y'all for tuning in, for going live for Smoky Mountains for the Billy Strength edition. I really enjoyed that. I did get a lot of views on that. Thank you for giving me a lot of views on that video. I didn't know how that was going to go, since it was live in the Smoky Mountains and I was doing a bluegrass singer, which he's a phenomenal bluegrass singer, Mr. Billy Strings is. But I don't know how that was going to go, doing it live on live Smoky Mountains, because I was just going to take a break when I was on my 2-week vacation in the Smokies. But I was like, no, I'm going to do a live from Smoky Mountains, talking about a particular singer that's connected to the mountain music, or just a bluegrass singer in general. But he's really good. Thank y'all for giving me a bunch of likes on that video. It did go well in live from the Smoky Mountains. I have not watched it yet, but thank y'all for tuning in for when I was in the Smoky Mountains. I got a lot of great new CDs. I can't really name off. I really can't name off from my head because there's so many. I could have brought them out here and showed you all, but that would have taken a long time. But one of my looking forward to CDs I've got is Pink Floyd The Wall album. I got from the rhythm section this morning, because I'll be looking forward to listening to that, because the only 2 songs I know off that record is Another Brick in the Wall, which is part 1 and part. That's the only songs I know from the album. But thanks for tuning in to White Lion Brice's Beats edition today. It has been so good to talk about White Lion. I've been looking forward to talking about White Lion. And I tell you this, if you could break down every classic White Lion song, you could probably do a music theory on it. That's why I've always said in these past videos, you can always break down every classic song from your favorite bands or singers and probably do a music theory lesson on it. They're that good, in my opinion. White Lion is that good to actually do a music theory lesson on, which I'm going to talk about music theory in not next weekend's upcoming video, but I think in a future video we're going to be just talking about music theory, which will be really quite interesting and be really, 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 really good. So thank y'all for tuning in for Brice's Beats White Line Edition. So next weekend, we're going to be talking about this coming next weekend, next coming Saturday. We're going to be talking. Who are we going to be talking about? Oh boy. I know who we'll be talking about. Let's talk about. So next weekend, we're going to be talking about a phenomenal, great. We're going to be talking about next weekend a great 80s rock band that was kind of a one-hit wonder, but they're called Climax Blues Band. So we're going to be talking about next weekend the Brice's Beats edition of the 80s one-hit wonder band. Next weekend, we're going to be talking about the Climax Blues Band, which are known for the big hit I Love You and all that. But next weekend, we're going to talk about Brice's Beats. We're going to be talking about next weekend, this upcoming next weekend, the Climax Blues Band, the 80s one-hit wonder band. So we're going to be talking about that next weekend. So tune in for that. That's going to be really fun. I do have a Climax Blues Band CD, so maybe I can play one of their songs off their only albums I think they did. So next weekend, Climax Blues Band edition, Brice's Beats. Thank y'all for tuning in for Brice's Beats White Line edition today. I see y'all next weekend for tuning in for Climax Blues Band. Come next weekend. Thank y'all. Hope y'all have a rest of a good weekend. I'm having a good weekend so far for tuning in. I'm having a good weekend so far. I hope y'all have a blessed rest of your all good weekend. Thanks for tuning in, Brice. I love y'all. I'll see y'all later next weekend for Climax Blues Band edition. See y'all next weekend. Bye.